How did Darth Sidious teach Darth Vader to embrace the power of the dark side? After sending Vader to create his own Sith lightsaber, Palpatine knew that his new apprentice needed to let go of his inhibitions and Jedi training. He accomplished this by showing Vader that his lightsaber was merely a symbol of the immense power he now held over the galaxy. By using the Force to manipulate nearby debris, Palpatine demonstrated the destructive capabilities that the Sith must embrace. In other words, the real power of the Sith was in their mastery of the Force, not their weapons. Fast forward more than 2 decades, and Vader would use this same lesson to test his son's Force abilities on Bespin. Palpatine's lesson had a profound impact on Vader, shaping him into the ultimate instrument of his will and cutting any remaining ties to his former life as a Jedi Knight. What was Darth Vader's greatest fear? Failing to turn Luke to the dark side on Bespin, Vader sought revenge on those who had kept his son away from him. When the Emperor discovered Vader was consumed with grief instead of hate, he punished his apprentice by leaving him maimed and stranded on the fiery lava shores of Mustafar. As Vader fought his way back, he obtained a Sith Wayfinder and discovered his master was keeping secrets on the world of Exegol. Emerging from hyperspace in the Red Honeycomb Zone, Vader suddenly faced his deepest fear when Asuma Verminoth unleashed a powerful psychic attack. As an observer of his confrontation with Luke Skywalker on Bespin, Vader saw events play out differently as his son overpowered him and emerged victorious. Vader then witnessed the Emperor's approval and his son taking his place at the Sith side. In that moment, Anakin Skywalker stirred deep within the Sith Lord, and he refused to allow his son to follow the same tragic path he had. 5 years into the reign of the Galactic Empire, Darth Vader and the Inquisitors eliminated Eth Koth, one of the last known survivors of Order 66. As a reward for hunting down the Jedi survivors, Emperor Palpatine gave Vader Padme Amidala's personal starship. Aware that the Jedi threat was all but gone, Palpatine informed his apprentice he had other work to accomplish, and he ordered Vader to deliver a message to Bail Organa on Alderaan. But for the first time ever, Darth Vader emphatically refused the order. Angered at the response and possibly wondering if he had misheard, Palpatine demanded clarification. Vader replied that after his years of service, he wanted a world of his own. Palpatine understood and presented Vader with 2 options: his homeworld of Naboo and Vader's homeworld of Tatooine. But Vader countered with the only world he wanted: Mustafar. What happened when Darth Vader met Anakin Skywalker's childhood friends? Informed a colony of freed Tatooine slaves was being neglected by their Imperial governor, Darth Vader investigated to confirm the report was true. Discovering some of the colonists had built a pod racer from salvage, Vader demanded to know who they are, and he came face to face with his childhood friends Kitster and Wald. Taken back to his time as a child on Tatooine, Vader stormed off, seemingly dismissing his former friends. But sensing something was not right, he positioned himself to defend the colony from an invading army of indigenous life. Understanding the governor is neglecting her people, his friends, Vader had an arsenal sent down from his Star Destroyer to equip the colonists to protect and sustain themselves. Even though Vader denies it, Anakin is still clearly buried deep down somewhere inside that black armor. It took Darth Vader 20 years to kill his former master Obi-Wan Kenobi. So what did the Dark Lord of the Sith feel in that moment? Dueling each other several times over the years, the first left Anakin Skywalker emotionally and physically in pieces. The second was such a shock to Kenobi that Vader let him go, as it was about proving he was better than the Jedi. The third time, Obi-Wan outmatched his former Padawan, leaving the Sith struggling to breathe. Their duel on the Death Star is where Vader finally killed Obi-Wan. So what did he experience in his moment of victory? In the short story There Is Another, we learn that Darth Vader, or more importantly the part of him that was still Anakin Skywalker, felt complete and utter loneliness and sorrow. The final connection to his old life was gone. Furious after losing his son Luke Skywalker on Bespin, Darth Vader embarked on a relentless quest for vengeance against those who hid Luke from him. Visiting Padme's tomb on Naboo, an Imperial forensics droid uncovered a med implant that tracked to the medical facility on Polis Massa. There, he entered the ruins of a rebel base, which had been bombed by the Empire during the Galactic Civil War. Discovering Padme had arrived with his former master Obi-Wan Kenobi, the fragment of a recording in the memory bank of a midwife droid forever changed Vader's perception. Watching his wife's final moments, he heard her proclaim her unwavering belief in the goodness that still resided within Anakin. Realizing his master had manipulated and deceived him about his wife's fate for decades, Vader plunged into an abyss of grief and turmoil. Returning to Coruscant, Sidious sensed a shift in his apprentice's emotions, imparting yet another lesson to teach Vader what it truly meant to embrace the dark side as a Sith. After the destruction of the Death Star at Yavin 4, Ensign Nanda, a recent graduate of the Imperial Academy, was appointed commander of a clandestine operation by Darth Vader himself. Tracking the slicers responsible for inserting a rebel spy in the Imperial Navy, Nanda led her team to Coruscant, where she experienced fear and disbelief at Vader's merciless nature. Despite obtaining the necessary information within 15 minutes, the Sith Lord spent a brutal 8 hours making examples. Continuing to Bothawai and Kuat, Nanda watched with terror as Vader dealt with traitors and the command staff from his old flagship. But what drove Nanda to the edge was the haunting sound of Vader's retaliation against his elite stormtroopers, who dared to get in the way of his quest for revenge. Even though Vader delivered the promised promotion and credits, the memories burned into her mind would not go away. Nanda's hallucinations made it impossible for her to forget the unspeakable horrors she had seen, and each day she sought forgiveness for her part in Darth Vader's sins. The galaxy at large did not know Darth Vader was former Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker during Emperor Palpatine's reign. Rumors spread that he was a cyborg created in a laboratory as a counterpart to General Grievous. Even after the Emperor and the Galactic Empire fell, Vader's true identity was known only by a few individuals. Galactic citizens did not find out that Anakin Skywalker, Republic hero of the Clone Wars, had become the Emperor's enforcer, Darth Vader, until 24 years after his death. Princess Leia's true parentage was leaked by her political enemies in order to discredit her in the Senate. Learning the truth along with the citizens of the galaxy, Ben Solo felt betrayed. His idealized version of Anakin Skywalker crumbled, and he gave in to the dark side impulses he'd repressed for so long. When did Darth Vader learn Luke Skywalker was his son? Chasing rebel starfighters down the trench of the first Death Star, Vader senses one of the rebel pilots is strong with the Force. And 3 years later, he declares, "That is the system, and I'm sure Skywalker is with them," while searching the galaxy for the rebel base. So when did he discover his son had not perished with Padme? Vader and Luke came face to face at an Imperial weapons factory on Cymoon 1 shortly after the first Death Star was destroyed. Vader realizes the boy is what his former master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, was protecting when he sees this rebel wielding his old lightsaber. Vowing to train the boy, he hires Boba Fett through Jabba the Hutt to track him down. Following leads from the Mos Eisley Cantina patrons, Fett corners Wormy, one of the boy's friends, from whom he learns his target's name is Skywalker. When Fett reports back, Vader is filled with rage as he realizes what Obi-Wan took from him all those years ago. Emperor Palpatine's royal guards are among the most skilled warriors in the galaxy and are fiercely loyal to Palpatine. So why does Darth Vader hate them? During the latter days of the Galactic Republic, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine created the Red Guard, his own personal security force separate from the Senate Guard. Following the formation of the Galactic Empire, the Emperor renamed them as the Imperial Royal Guard and abolished the Senate Security Force. Handpicked from the top soldiers in the Imperial Army, they were trained to be utterly loyal, carrying out the Emperor's every command. Palpatine ordered royal guards to protect Darth Vader in his castle on Mustafar. Vader, though, was aware they were actually stationed to monitor his every move and report back to the Emperor, stopping the Dark Lord from conspiring to overthrow his master. At times, Palpatine would use the guards in lessons for his apprentice as a reminder they were also a physical threat. On the Death Star, Princess Leia was subjected to a rigorous mind probe interrogation by Darth Vader. So how was it that she was able to think clearly when she confronted Grand Moff Tarkin and then shortly after led her escape? For over half an hour, she was injected with truth drugs and subjected to electrical shocks. She was able to withstand these attempts and maintain her mental protection, but it had a significant impact on her both physically and psychologically. Darth Vader gave the order to have a medic attend to the princess as he was leaving the detention facility. Dr. Cornell Deviney was called in. Leia was physically weak and in a lot of pain when the doctor entered her cell. After receiving his treatment, the princess was able to regain her mental faculties and even made an attempt to persuade Dr. Deviney to join the Rebel Alliance. When Vader returned to bring Leia before Tarkin, it was as if she had never been questioned and she was once again strong enough to escape. Shortly after the formation of the Galactic Empire, Emperor Palpatine sent Darth Vader, his new apprentice, on a mission to construct his very own Sith lightsaber. The task was not an easy one. Vader had to track and eliminate a Jedi survivor of Order 66 to obtain a Kyber crystal. Once he had it, he traveled to the Force Nexus on the fiery planet of Mustafar to craft his weapon. But things took an unexpected turn when he removed the Kyber crystal from the hilt. The Force revealed a vision to him, a path leading him back to the light and to victory against his cruel master. Despite this tempting possibility, Darth Vader was not ready to let go of his anger and hate. He refused to return to his former life as Anakin Skywalker, and instead poured all his rage into the Kyber crystal, bleeding and bending it to his will. Returning to Coruscant, he presented his new Sith lightsaber to Emperor Palpatine, passing his first test as a Sith Lord.